This is the Liaison Podcast with Izzy Park, and today's travel show is about where glowing waters light up the darkness and free-spirited culture fills the sun-drenched hours along Mexico's Caribbean coast. Picture yourself floating in the most surreal swimming pool nature ever designed. You're suspended in crystal-clear water inside an ancient limestone cave, stalactites dripping above your head like nature's chandeliers, and a single beam of sunlight pierces through the ceiling, turning the water around you into liquid sapphire. The Maya believed these cenotes were portals to the underworld, sacred gateways where the physical and spiritual realms touched. And as you float there, completely still, surrounded by rock formations that took millions of years to create, you kind of get it. This isn't just swimming. This is Playa del Carmen's secret magic, and it's the thing you absolutely cannot experience anywhere else on Earth. Because here's what nobody tells you about Playa. Yeah, it's got those absurdly turquoise Caribbean waters and powder white sand that looks photoshopped even when you're standing right there. But what makes this place genuinely unmissable is the convergence of three completely different worlds that somehow exist in perfect harmony. You've got the ancient Maya civilization, with pyramids and ceremonial sites scattered throughout the jungle. Then there's contemporary Mexican culture, vibrant and unfiltered, and so welcoming it'll make your heart ache a little. And finally, you're swimming above the second largest coral reef system in the entire world. Show me another place where you can explore thousand-year-old ruins in the morning, dive into a sacred underground river system by afternoon, and dance at a beach club by sunset. I'll wait. And listen, I know what you're thinking. Cancun's up the coast. Tulum's getting all the Instagram attention. What makes Playa del Carmen the move? Well, Cancun feels like someone designed a beach resort in a laboratory with the sole purpose of separating tourists from their money. And Tulum, bless it, has become so influencer-saturated and pretentious that you need a trust fund just to buy a green juice. Playa sits right in that perfect middle ground. It's sophisticated enough that you've got excellent coffee shops, reliable Wi-Fi for the digital nomads, and cocktail bars that actually know what they're doing. But it's also maintained this genuine Mexican character that makes you feel like you're traveling, not just vacationing. The town locals call simply Playa stretches along Mexico's Caribbean coastline in Quintana Roo, positioned perfectly on the Yucatan Peninsula. 68 kilometers south of Cancun, directly across from Cozumel Island, it's surrounded by jungle that's constantly trying to reclaim the space humans have carved out. And honestly, that tension between civilization and nature creates part of the magic here. You're never far from a reminder that nature ultimately rules this place. What gets me about Playa is this openness, this sense that transformation actually happens here. Maybe it's the way the jungle encroaches on everything, vines creeping up buildings, reminding you that nothing's permanent. Or maybe it's that particular shade of blue-green the Caribbean turns here, a colour that genuinely doesn't exist anywhere else, inviting you to shed whoever you were back home and become someone more adventurous, more present, more alive. For centuries, this was just a tiny fishing village the Maya called Zamanha, meaning waters of the north. Fewer than 100 people lived here as recently as a few decades ago. Then, European backpackers discovered it. Word spread about these pristine beaches and laid-back vibes, and the transformation happened almost overnight. The population exploded from about 1,000 people to over 300,000 today, making it one of the fastest-growing cities in Mexico. What makes Playa's culture so fascinating is these multiple identities coexisting. You've got working-class Mexican families in neighborhoods away from the beach, service industry workers from across Mexico seeking coastal opportunities, long-term international residents who've integrated into local life, and this perpetual flow of tourists from everywhere. Walk along Quinta Avenida, the pedestrian thoroughfare running parallel to the beach, and you'll hear Spanish mixing with English, Italian, German, French. Street performers juggle fire, while traditional Maya dancers perform ceremonial movements. It's chaos and harmony happening simultaneously.
Building a new product? Temez Labs takes you from napkin sketch to the App Store. Trusted by Fortune 500s for quality, security, and speed. Book your free strategy session at temez.ai.
The really beautiful thing is how Mexican traditions persist underneath all the tourist infrastructure. Mealtimes remain sacred, with lunch as the main meal and dinner happening late. Religious festivals blend Catholic and Maya traditions into these unique syncretic celebrations, where you'll see processions honoring the Virgin Mary alongside offerings left at cenotes for ancient deities. The Maya never disappeared here. Their descendants live throughout Quintana Roo, speaking Yucatec Maya, maintaining customs, performing ceremonies at archaeological sites. This isn't history, it's living, breathing culture. Walk the streets away from Quinta Avenida's tourist hustle, into the colonias where families actually live, and you'll find the real playa. Mothers shopping at Mercado Colosio for fresh produce and meat, kids playing soccer in dusty lots, corner stores selling essentials, family-run taquerias with no English menus and prices that make sense for locals, not tourists. The contrast between tourist playa and local playa creates this fascinating divide that residents navigate daily. The sensory experience here hits differently. Salt air mixes with sunscreen, grilling meat, tropical flowers, and the occasional reminder that you're in a developing destination where infrastructure struggles to keep pace with growth. But mostly, it smells like possibility. Waves provide constant background rhythm, occasionally interrupted by passing music, street vendors calling out, multilingual conversations creating this linguistic symphony. Visually, you're overwhelmed by turquoise water against white sand, colourful buildings, lush green jungle finding space wherever humans have left an opening. Now let's talk about those cenotes, because this is where playa truly distinguishes itself from every generic beach destination. The Yucatan Peninsula is basically Swiss cheese, riddled with thousands of these freshwater sinkholes created when limestone bedrock collapses, revealing underground rivers below. The Maya considered them sacred, portals to Xibalba, the underworld. They performed ceremonies at these sites, making offerings to rain gods and ancestors. Some cenotes still hold that ceremonial significance. Swimming in a cenote transcends ordinary tourism. It's genuinely otherworldly. Gran Cenote features crystal-clear pools where you can snorkel among turtles and tiny fish. Visibility so perfect you can see 100 feet in every direction. Cenote Azul offers cliff jumping for the adrenaline seekers. Dos Ojos, meaning two eyes, presents advanced cave diving through interconnected underwater river systems, some of the longest underwater caves on Earth. If you're certified, diving these caverns creates this hauntingly beautiful experience with dramatic light effects and prehistoric rock formations. But even if you're not diving certified, just swimming in these spaces creates profound peace. You're floating in water that's been filtering through limestone for centuries, surrounded by stalactites that took millions of years to form, and sunlight streams through openings in ways that feel deliberately designed for maximum beauty. It's meditative without trying to be. You can't help but slow down, breathe deeper, feel connected to something ancient and larger than yourself. Then there's the Mesoamerican Reef, running parallel to the coast just offshore. This is the second largest coral reef system in the world, stretching from Mexico down through Belize, Guatemala, and Honduras. The biodiversity here is staggering. Snorkeling or diving reveals eagle rays gliding past with effortless grace, sea turtles munching on seagrass completely unbothered by your presence, and if you're incredibly fortunate, gentle whale sharks cruising through with their mouths open, filter feeding on plankton. The coral formations create these underwater cities where tropical fish dart between structures in colours that seem impossible. You're also surrounded by Maya archaeological wonders that make day trips feel like genuine adventures. Tulum perches dramatically on seaside cliffs about an hour south, a walled Maya city with temples overlooking those impossible turquoise waters. Cobá, deeper in the jungle, features Nohok Mul Pyramid, which you can still climb for jungle canopy views that stretch forever. And Chichén Itzá, one of the new 7 wonders of the world, sits a few hours inland. Its massive pyramid, El Castillo, demonstrates sophisticated astronomical knowledge that'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew about ancient civilizations.
Oh, hey, friend. Do you like what you're hearing? Now you can have a ridiculously amazing podcast, too. Check out holler.studio to get yourself one today.
The food scene here deserves serious attention because Yucatecan cuisine distinguishes itself from typical Mexican food through Maya influences and tropical ingredients. Cochinita pibil represents the region at its finest. Pork marinated in achiote paste and sour orange, slow cooked underground in a bib oven until it falls apart, served in tacos with pickled red onions that cut through the richness perfectly. Ceviche varies wildly, but uniformly impresses with freshness, lime-cured fish mixed with tomatoes, cilantro, and enough habanero to remind you that this region doesn't play around with heat. After dark, taco stands multiply like magic, serving al pastor, campechano, and local specialties from street-side grills. The smell of roasting meat draws crowds to tiny establishments with plastic stools and flavors that'll ruin you for mediocre Mexican food forever. Follow the crowds to popular stands and you'll be fine. Locals know what's up. Playa's nightlife spans the spectrum, from sophisticated rooftop mezcal bars to sweaty underground clubs to beach parties where sand meets bass. It's less aggressively party-focused than Cancun's spring break chaos, but more accessible than Tulum's exclusive velvet rope scene. The energy peaks without feeling desperate. People are here to enjoy themselves, not prove something. Beach clubs like Mamitas and Cool transform from daytime. We hope you enjoyed the trip. You can support the Liaison podcast by rating it 5 stars and pressing the follow button. And remember, one's destination is never a place, but rather a new way of looking at things.
Grep News. Tamez.